Hello everyone. So in this video we will discuss about priority scheduling. The next type of scheduling algorithm is priority scheduling. So as the name suggests, if you want to follow any priority of the incoming process and based on the priority only if you are scheduling, then this scheduling algorithm works very well, right? So we need to decide on which priority we have to provide the process for CPU. So if you are giving the low priority process or the high priority process, so how can we consider which process has the higher priority and which one is said to be the lower priority? So priority can be assigned either by internally or externally, which means based on the number of resources whatever it is required before itself, right? So based on that we can assign priority to any of the process. Otherwise, based on some of the external events that it may require, or it may require much number of IO devices, so based on that if you want to assign priority, so that is also possible, which is nothing but external priority. So in based on these two technique we can assign priority. So we are not doing all those things, only operating system should take care of assigning priority to each and every process. So the way how we are scheduling the process based on the priority, whichever assigned already for each and every process. Okay. So here, in some concept, in some textbook, they have given the lower number which we are assigning to each process is said to be the higher priority. In some textbook, they have given the higher number which we are assigning to each and every process gets the higher priority. So it may leads to confusion, so you can follow any one of the way, any one of the method of assigning the priority. So here I just used the first method, that is if for the process whichever has the lower number which leads to higher priority. Okay. So here we, in this given example, we have five number of process and their corresponding burst time and priority as already given. We need to calculate all these things like completion time, turnaround time and waiting time, and also we need to draw this Gantt chart. Only with the help of this Gantt chart we can calculate all these time related options, right? So here it and this one, so which is very similar to the shortest job first, it this particular scheduling algorithm also works under two mode, either it might be a preemptive or a non-preemptive mode. Okay. So here this particular example shows in non-preemptive version. So let us see. So first we have uh, the process p1 p2 up to 5. So, which process has the higher priority? As I told, the lower number leads to higher priority. The process P2 is the highest priority process. So, we need to schedule initially this particular P2 process to the CPU. So, that is what done here. And what is its burst time? That is 1. So, it has to execute till 1 milliseconds. And what is the next higher priority process, which is nothing but process P5? So, that we have scheduled, and the next higher priority process is P1 and then P3 and then P4. So in based on the priority whatever assigned we have for for each and every process, based on that we have scheduled all the process. In this way we can write the completion time also. For the first process it gets completed at 16, and P2 has been completed at 1, P3 has been completed at 18, P4 has been completed at 19, and P5 has been completed at 6. How to write the turnaround time? So though we don't have the arrival time, separate arrival time for the process, all the process has been arrived at the same time, so the completion time will be same for the turnaround time. And how to calculate the waiting time? If you subtract turnaround time with this burst time, then you will be getting waiting time. Okay. 16 minus 10, that is 6. 1 minus 1, that is 0, because P2 process never waits, didn't wait. So it just at the arrival time 0 itself, it is actually scheduled. And the next one, P3 process, 18 minus 2, that is 16, 19 minus 1, that is 18, 6 minus 5, that is 6 minus 5, that is 1. Okay. Then average waiting time of this example, priority scheduling, according to priority scheduling, so what is average waiting time? That is 8.2. Okay, so here, as I told, it works on both preemptive or non-preemptive mode, but here we have one drawback in case of priority scheduling. So that is nothing but indefinite blockage or starvation. Indefinite blockage or starvation. So what do you mean by indefinite blockage? So though we are scheduling only the high priority process. So what about the low priority process? So even though the low priority process has the shortest burst time, okay, in that way it has been assigned the priority. So what happens here? The shortest process, low priority process keeps on waiting until the completion of all the high priority process, isn't it? So it leads to starvation, which is nothing but indefinite blockage. So it keeps on waiting for a long time. So it doesn't know when it will get the CPU for execution, right? So in order to avoid it, we can follow one of the technique called aging. So aging is the technique which is used to avoid the indefinite blockage of starvation of the low priority process. So which what we are doing, so we are just assigning some timer or some clock value for the low priority process. So it starts the clock from some numbers like 100 to 0, right? So if for every second, so it has to decrement the counter value. When it reaches to 0, so this particular process will become the higher priority process. Okay, so whenever it leads it may have the higher priority chance, then again the next time it will be scheduled to the CPU for execution. So we are just converting the low priority to higher priority, even though if it is assigned as a low priority initially. But in order to avoid this indefinite blockage or starvation, we are using this technique called aging. Okay. So in this way, we can overcome the drawback whatever we are facing under priority scheduling. Thank you.